He's like, I wish I had met you 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And I was like, well, I wish that too. But I'm not sure we were ready for each other then.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ready for Love podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. We are doing another one of our amazing Ready for Love graduates interviews today. And I love doing these because it really helps give me an opportunity. It just gives me an opportunity to be my real self with you guys. I'm not, teaching. I'm just being who I am with my amazing clients. I get to share my amazing clients with you, and to lift them up and celebrate them and highlight them because it really is truly amazing when a woman steps up for herself, signs up for something like this. Not everybody is willing to invest in themselves, but also look at themselves really critically and do the work. So today we're talking with Kara Judd. She has been with KPMG for 31 years. That is astounding. So in that time, she's really proven herself as a dynamic and critical leader. Right now, she is currently the senior director and head of US account management and operations. And also she has a huge heart. She sits on the board for Habitat for Humanity Charlotte and Sustain Charlotte. And even since 2014, she's been actively serving with women's executives and is a total, complete, like me, champion for empowering women in leadership roles. So let's welcome Kara to the show. Hello.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. Very
Oh,
excited.
well, thank you so much for being willing to share your story. Again, like it's not like you're just coming on and talking about business. This is especially vulnerable when you share your personal life and your private life with anybody who's listening. So I always really appreciate that. And we learn from story. We hear stories and something will stick. And sometimes it's just one thing that you might say that resonates with somebody and they click and it clicks and they get it. So our listeners are blessed to get to have you here today. So what we're going to start off with is, if you could just please tell everybody where you were at in your love life, what you were struggling with, what was going on that was not working for you when you reached out.
Okay, so because it's been 3+ years ago, I was very successful in business. I had a child who was in high school. I was ready to kind of get back out into dating scene, but really didn't know how to do that. I really didn't date a lot in high school and in college, and I'm a tall girl. It's because I'm tall, I'm intimidating, I'm this, I'm that. Gave kind of all these excuses for why I didn't get asked out. And so I just really just started seeing, okay, what options are there? And so I took your introductory call and or I guess it was your introductory program, right? And every one of your points just hit home for exactly who I was, how I operated, etc. And so of course I was like, okay, that's me, so she can help fix me. I clearly it's something with me, right? And so I
Well, I
reached
think I
out.
think it's so funny, Kara, because you're like, I'm really tall, and that's the reason I don't get asked out. And the funny thing is, like, I'm 5'1", and so maybe it's because I'm so short that I don't get asked out. Like we all say the dumbest shit to ourselves about
Exactly.
why we're not lovable or why we're not attractive or what's wrong with us. And
Yes.
like what I wouldn't give to have 2 more inches on my thighs. So
Exactly.
it's just so funny when women say things like that. Not funny, it's painful when we do that to ourselves, but it's so ridiculous funny. Like it's a
Completely.
fucking lie, basically.
Completely. And it was lies that I told myself, and then going through the program, and I know we'll talk a little bit more, but these were lies that I told myself, to understand, right? To understand why I wasn't getting asked out, right? Why men weren't gravitating towards me. My friends would say, "Well, you're the whole package, you're the whole package." And I'm like, "Well, I think I'm the whole package too." But it wasn't at that point in time, it really wasn't translating. And I think I was in a marriage for about 9 years, divorced when my daughter was younger. I then went a couple years of, hey, I'm just going to step back. I was introduced to another gentleman. We dated for 7 years. And so then fast forward, we broke up. And then I got into kind of a little bit of the dating pool and trying to navigate that and was very insecure about it, just scared, frankly scared. And so that's what precipitated me contacting and seeing, your program online and getting in contact with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how women, I think that we don't, the general public might see a woman who's an executive in a powerhouse and has the designer bags or the lifestyle or a nice car and the clothes and all these things and a great title and a great paycheck and not think for 1 second what might be going on behind closed doors, like inside of yourself. Nobody would suspect that you would be insecure. But this is, of course, the Ready for Love niche, super niche, that we really work with women who have this kind of strange disconnect between how accomplished you are and successful you are on the outside and what things might look like. And yet at the same time, we're all just this little girl on the inside who's still wounded and has baggage and fears and insecurities. Those things don't go away unless we actually work at it. You can't like succeed your way out of that. Yeah.
Agree.
Okay, so you found us online, you found the webinar, you did the webinar, then you did the breakthrough call and you signed up. Can you remember like a moment where something clicked for you in the program, or was there a specific tool or takeaway that really shifted something for you?
Well, I will start first in the call, the initial call with you, and I was kind of relaying where I was, and I think I was whirling and different things, and you really said, this is solvable. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to put up with this. And so I do remember, that was very pivotal for me because I was reduced to tears, and you were just like, this shouldn't be a part of this, right? So that was the first pivotal point. I think as I went through the program, and you have to put the work in. So and I was the first person, right? Oh, I'm busy with meetings, I'm busy with this. And so finally I was like, I've made a commitment to this. I'm making a commitment to myself, and I really had to work the program. And part of that work in the program was attending the calls. I got a huge amount of benefit from hearing other stories, right? Because a lot of times we've got a lot of similar characteristics. But I do think a portion of the time was in the journaling and walking through the activities to help peel back the onion of really where my probably insecurities, if I'm honest, lie. And I can, I don't, I can expand upon that. I mean, there was, and it's just some little random things, right? That, people said to me probably in my teenage years. And I do recall you saying, right, you can hear things, you can feel things, and in your mind, you tell yourself that over and over. And so what was a lie becomes then a truth. And
Yeah.
that was very pivotal for me, right? And so
Yeah.
I had to go back, figure out those lies that I was telling myself, whether it was too tall, whether there were specific conversations that there was two specific conversations, one that I had with someone that was I didn't even know, and they had said something to me that then impacted how I showed up. Another was my father, and I have always been very talkative, very challenging. They used to use the term bossy. We don't use bossy, we use driven now. But he had relayed, right, in the heat of, I'm sure, me challenging and arguing with him, that how are you going to find somebody that's going to put up with that, right? And so again, that's deep in my subconscious. So I had to work through that, and I worked through that via the journaling. I worked through that on the calls. I worked through that with the one-on-one counseling. And it wasn't quick, right? You can't really solve it quickly. I mean, I think at least I was working on this 4 to 6 months, and it was only when I kind of opened up that portion, opened up bigger portions of the program, things started to shift. You're starting to satisfy that inner child. You're starting to show up differently, and it just takes time. And it took me whatever, and I guess that would have been 50 some years to get there, right? So clearly, 6 months is a drop in the bucket to help me move forward.
Yeah, well, you just said a lot of amazing things, and I'm going to go back just for the listener's sake because one of the things that we do so well is the reprogramming. So, critical key moments in our development, we experience micro traumas, as I call them, like where you Did you end up in the hospital? No. Did anybody beat you in that moment? No. But those words of somebody that you seek approval from, that you love, that you want adoration from, your dad, this figure. And for anybody listening, there are many people in our lives like that when we're little, and he says to you, without thinking of the long-term impact it
Agreed.
may have on you, who's going to put up with you if you're bossy, right? Or you're a know-it-all or whatever. And it goes into your subconscious, and it sits and it grows and it festers. And what our beliefs are nothing more than sentences or statements that we have told ourselves so many times that we come to believe it. So there's a lot of shit in our subconscious that isn't true, and a lot of things that don't make sense. But if they're unexamined and unexplored and not challenged, they are actually these things inside of our subconscious in charge of everything. All of that stuff is at the wheel, whether we realize it or not. And that's why it's so important, really, for everybody to do this work, not just for relationships, but for everything. And sometimes on my Facebook ads or my Instagram ads or on my comment on my all my social media, I get women saying things like, blame the women. Why don't you just blame the women? Men are the ones that need to do the work and blah, blah. I'm like, well, yeah, we all need to do this for ourselves. It's not about he, she, or whatever. It's if we want to really achieve our fullest potential and be the best version of ourselves possible and have our own hands at the wheel so that we are self-determining and self-defining and self-led, this work has to be done for all of us, no matter how successful we are. So that's why I love you and all of my clients so much, because despite how successful you are, you're still willing to look within and see what things are holding you back. So, and our program is 12 weeks, 8 or 12 weeks, depending on which version you sign up for, but you really continued to do the work. You stayed committed, and it took you like 6 months, you're saying.
Yes, I think yes. And I will say, initially, was I willing to look at it and determine that it was myself? No. Of course, I wanted somebody else to tell me that here's the magic bullet. Here's why you're not dating, right? And that was where it was, it was interesting then when the program's like, it's you, and you're like, wait a second, that's not what I wanted to hear, right? I wanted some
Right.
other magic bullet. But then when but then it does make sense, right? And then when you work the program and you go through the program, and then you can kind of lay some things to bed. And again, thank goodness, I've talked to my daughter a lot about, portions of this program. I've talked to friends, because gosh knows I would like for them to heal wounds way earlier, right? I mean, thank goodness I had it, in my 50s, right? And I didn't carry this throughout my whole life. So I encourage everyone to work on, and gosh knows I still have many things to work on as well. So it's
Yeah,
not all,
but you're
all
right.
over.
Women often say, "Where were you 20 years ago?" I'm like, "But you probably weren't ready for it by then." Like we have to really
Agreed.
be ready to accept that we are the problem. And again, that's where I get a lot of blowback too, is blame the women. But honestly, it is the most life-changing thing when we can just be willing to ask ourselves, how am I creating this? How am I contributing? And it's like somebody said that to me when I was like 25 years old, and I was at first put off by it, of course, thinking I didn't do anything wrong, but that question has stuck with me and I don't even know who it was at the time anymore, but like it planted this seed for me that has become a foundational part of the program. Is like it starts with you. It always does. We can all get what we want when we're willing to see how we're getting in our own way. And yeah, it sucks to like, it's the bitter pill, magic pill, right? It's a bitter pill that it's
It's
you,
a
but
bit
it's the
help.
magic pill. Yeah. So, really peeling back the layers, reprogramming some of those deep, deep subconscious beliefs and identity forming moments for you. So, tell us where you're at now.
Sure. I am in what is going on almost a 3-year committed relationship with a great guy. And so I've just, met him, and I want to say, because I talked earlier about being nervous about dating, right? I really hadn't dated a lot. The program helped me, learn to go on dates, right? Go on dates, just have fun, meet a lot of people, set up your profile, right? I had not set up my profile and different things. So it's interesting because I was meeting, let's say, more of the guys that I was dating casually on Match. he was the only one that ended up translating through Bumble. Like nobody was coming through my Bumble. And then all of a sudden at one point, again, it's the universe, it's, God, it's whoever like that you want to believe put him in my life. And so it's been a very fun ride. It has not all been smooth, right? He is financially, more successful than I am, and which I love, right? Because I had usually been the more successful one in these other relationships. He's not intimidated. I think I even said we just talked about a lot of things, and and I said, well, most guys are intimidated by me, and he just laughed, and it was lovely, right? He laughs and he's like, well, I'm not intimidated by you, right? And
Yay!
yes, so it's very fun, very fun, and we have a lot in common. Now, has it all been easy? It has not. There have been bumps. He's got stuff. He was more out of a divorce, or more recently out of a divorce, and he's had to work through things as well. I have tried to encourage him, to get counseling. I wish, you did handle the men portion of it, and so we have had a lot of discussions. We communicate a lot, more communication than I've probably ever had in probably all my relationships combined, if I'm honest.
That's
But
great.
it's, being yeah, talk
I
through
mean,
things.
this is realistic.
It
This is
is.
realistic. And what I love what you're saying is this is different in many ways than your past experiences. In the past, you were dating down, you were dating men who were not your equal. They were intimidated by you. It caused all kinds of trouble. Maybe how you were showing up wasn't fully expressed. Especially if you think you're intimidating or you're tall or whatever, you might make yourself smaller, and that never works. So
Right.
he's a different kind of person than you've been with in the past, and you're showing up differently. It sounds like there's space for you to actually be your full self in this relationship. And I always say it's not up to anybody else whether you get to be yourself. Only you can decide that. But if you felt like you had that belief that you're intimidating, you would bite your tongue. So the reality is relationships take work. It's
A
it's
lot of work.
joyful work, it's hard work, it's growth work, it's stretching you, it's taking you to your next level always. But the women who have graduated our program who are in successful long-term relationships use their skills and tools that they learned in this program forever into the
Agree.
relationship.
Agree completely. Because there's tools that I learned some of the times I have to go back and watch, some of the or listen to some of the videos. I go back to some of my notes. I mean, again, like I talk about, it's not, we've had multiple bumps and different things, and the last bump that happened probably 4 or 5 months ago, I just didn't, and it was a multitude of things going on at work, things the way I was showing up, and our relationship was handled, and I was like, I need to take a step back. I need to take a step back from everything. I am not in a great place, and how am I showing up? And it was interesting that, it made him rethink some things, and because I was actually willing to take a step back from the relationship. I said, this is critical to me. This is not how it's going to work for me. And so, to his credit, and other men would have probably just gone running off. He came back and said, no, I want to talk through this. I want to continue to talk through this. And so now we are back at a, even 10 times better place, right? And so that's, I know. And this is where at different points in time I would have probably been scared, right? Not going through this program. I would have been scared that I would have lost him. Scared. I'm like, you know what? I am my own self. I'm happy. I go on vacations by myself, right? You know, and so it's, you have to be willing to step back from it if it's not right, and it's not serving you, or if it's not serving, what you're looking for in the future. You have to be willing to to do that, right? And so that's where it was, it did. I think he then reevaluated some things and was like, wait, no, 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 and that,
See, I love this even more. If you're telling me that it's perfect and there's been no bumps, then I'm like, well, it's coming. Go have a fight on purpose. I would literally tell you go pick a fight so you can, because my whole philosophy is conflict brings you to deeper connection. And what most women will say to me is I've never had a man fight for me or just really be my ride or die. And what you're saying is he fought for you,
Yes.
and that, and being willing to have the difficult conversations and being willing to sit through the discomfort of all of that brought you to a whole new level of intimacy and connection. You can't get there without the challenges. You can't. That's why I'm like, go have a fight. If you haven't had one yet, go have a fight
Exactly.
because you
Ex-
don't know what you're capable of together and you don't know what each of you are capable of until you do that.
And life will throw different things at you. I mean, he was more recently out of a divorce. Then, his mom was sick and she ended up passing last fall. And so there was all these different, reasons, right? And I kept then as a previous people pleaser, right? And extending more reasons and giving more, leeway in different things. And then I just got to a point I was like, I can't do this. He had stepped back a couple of times. I think he had gotten scared at different points in time and he was, needed to step back. And then it was my time and I was like, I gotta step back. I've got to step back. And it was he is the only man that has fought for me.
Yeah.
I had not looked at it that way. I think I intuitively knew that, but he would not let me go. And I
And
was
that's
willing to let
because
go.
you are showing up. You're the most authentic, transparent you. You're worth fighting for. All of you, we are all worth fighting for. When you hold back, you don't give anybody an opportunity to give them something to grab onto. When you filter yourself and only share the best parts of you and the curated parts that you only want them to see, and you alter or edit yourself or shift and shapeshift into somebody you think that they want you to be and don't give them a reason to leave, you're creating the very rejection you're trying to avoid. But
Right.
what I love the most about this whole thing, Kara, is the biggest takeaway that women get out of our program. It's why we exist. And it is that you have this relationship with you that you are never going to ever betray ever again. And being willing to walk away from something that isn't right for you is is what I want for all women. And you know that you got your own back. And you know you're going to be okay no matter what.
Yes.
And being willing to do that, you often end up getting the thing that you want, but you being willing to lose that so that you can get what you really need more than anything, which is you, is the true gift.
Agree
So
completely.
proud of you for that.
Completely. Yes. Well, and it was interesting, right? Because when I did that, and then I step back and go, "Gosh, why didn't I do it sooner?" But clearly, the timing was supposed to be the time. How the timing works. But he's come back and showing up in ways like more affectionate. All this kind of things that again were what I really wanted. But it just kind of took me being finally, saying, "I'm gonna. This is what I need. This is what I need." I've given a lot, some excuses, but this is what I need, and
Well,
everything
here's
is
a soundbite, from the program. Ask for what you need and you're likely to receive. I
yes.
mean, it's like not that like it's kind of crazy that
Yes.
women don't ask for what they need, but and it's like revelation here. But
Right,
hello,
right.
ask for what you need and you're
Yes,
you're likely to receive it.
yes. Exactly, exactly. But I do, and I look back on, us talking through, like, the attachment types and all these kinda different things, and I don't try to play, counselor to, some of my friends or even to some of his friends, right, where they're going through because I do think there's something about people in their 50s, right, and all the stuff starts coming up, right? Everything starts coming up, but being able to start being true to yourself, would have loved to have it earlier, but glad we have it now and really try to just help showcase it. I showcase it to, my daughter, to my friends, because it's critical and you would think we would learn these things in school from our parents. We don't. We don't.
No, we don't. That's why I'm here. So what I love, like if we look back on our conversation, the things that you have that we've covered have been everything from changing inner core beliefs and dealing with micro traumas all the way to your dating profile and how to date online. And hello, everybody. This is a online app, dating app, love match. So if you think the apps suck, I'm telling you, a lot of our clients find their people online. It does exist and it does work when you know how to use it, all the way to navigating difficult conversations with somebody that you're in a relationship with and holding your space and not losing yourself. Like that's what Ready for Love is. It's all of it. It is. Like I just love what I do. I love that. And thank you so much for sharing all of this with everybody. What are we celebrating? What major cool things are going on in your life right now? What are you up to? tell us.
Yes. We've got all of our kids in college, so we're traveling and we're having fun, and we're, between work and travel. It is a very full life, right? And it's nice to have the time with just the two of us. And he lives about 4 hours away from me in this fabulous little town. So we get to, enjoy the big city life with me, the smaller city life with him, with tons of his friends, but just traveling. We were out on the Oregon coast for 2 weeks back in September. We've got a lot of other trips planned. So it's having fun. It's like this season of life, right? Where, we've channeled our children, we've gotten them into college and grad programs. They're all happy, and
It's your
now it's
turn.
time. Yeah, it's our turn now. And
Yeah.
it is interesting because we have these conversations. He's like, I wish I had met you 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And I was like, well, I wish that too. But I'm not sure we were ready for each other then.
I,
So
I believe that 100%. I love like that we share, again, for the listeners, we text each other and message each other about the newest 5-star fabulous resorts that check this
yes,
one out. Check this
check
one
this.
out. Here's where you need to go next. So you guys have quite the lifestyle together, and I'm so happy. And, again, like highlighting that, like in Ready for Love, we celebrate breakups. That sounds maybe weird for a love coaching kind of company, but when women are not willing to settle for something, the old you might have stayed and settled and made it work and put up with stuff, but the new you does not. And that is a win, to walk away even after 6 months, 6 years with something that no longer is the right thing for you, is a win when you look back on who you used to be and what you might have put up with and settled for. So,
Right.
I just love that. Um, all right, my
Well, I
dear.
do want to say, well, I'm going to still say you all had me write down my wish list. So what is the perfect, partner for you? What do you want in this partner? And I had, I looked at it a lot when I was in the program, and I just recently found the list again, and he checked off like every single box. And so even writing those things down, even when you're on the dating sites, being ruthless, right? You don't have time to waste. And I know that was through a lot of the coaching that you all had, right? You've got to be ruthless with it, and you have to believe. And so you have to go into it and believe and put that aura out. I do think I probably had a very closed aura. And so trying to be open and being willing to share myself. That was some other factors of the program that I've reflected upon that were pretty pivotal. So
Yeah, it's not just a list on paper, it's actually recognizing it in real life. That's different, right? The
yes.
map is not always the same as the actual terrain. And, so you can have your list of must-haves and requirements and deal breakers and all of that, but when he's standing in front of you, do you recognize, is this it? And not
Right.
ignoring the red and the yellow flags, and really trusting your intuition and all of that is a big part of it. And I love that you went back and looked at your list, and there it is, like
And there it
everything you
is.
wanted.
There it is.
We do the woo-woo kind of part of the program that's really connected to the laws of the universe and the law of attraction and the law of vibration. And um, the energy piece is huge, because you attracted this person. You were attracting the lower quality men before, because that's where you were kind of revving your frequency. When you up your frequency, you attract people who have a higher frequency as well. And it starts with you, and you did that for yourself first. And here he comes knocking.
Here he comes. There he was. Yeah, out
Yep.
of the blue. So
Yep. Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody. And I can't wait to see where it goes, and invite me to the wedding. I'm coming.